Number 15, if f of x is 3x squared, as you see in the diagram there, what are all real values of a and b for which the graph of g of x equals ax squared plus b is below the graph of f of x for all values of x? Well, first of all, the graph of ax squared plus b is also going to be a parabola, and it is also has its vertex along the y-axis. So it'll just be shifted up or shifted down. Now, answer A. If A is greater than or equal to 3 and B is positive. Well, if A is greater than or equal to 3, then its slope is steeper. It opens more narrow than does 3x squared. And so, and also it is raised off of the x-axis. So those two graphs will never intersect at any point. However, we're looking for the values of a and b for which g of x is below f of x for all values of x. And here g of x is above f of x for all values of x. So that's not possible. All right, the next one, a is less than or equal to 3 and b is negative. Now, if a is less than or equal to 3, then it's going to open wider than 3x squared, and so it will also not come into contact. There will be no intersection between g of x and f of x. And also, since b is negative, no, I'm sorry, that's not right. Yes, if b is negative, it means it's going to be shifted down. If a were negative, then it would be a parabola facing downward. But b is negative just means that it's shifted down, and a is less than or equal to 3. So a is going to open wider. The smaller that a is, the wider, and still positive, the wider it's going to open. The larger that a is, the steeper, and the steeper it will open. So it appears that this is going to be the answer that we're looking for. Let's just go through and try the other possibilities. Now, C says A is negative and B is positive. When A is negative, the leading coefficient of the parabola is negative, or of the quadratic is negative, then it will face downward. The graph will face downward. And B is positive means that the vertex will be lifted up off of the x-axis, or above the x-axis. And you can see in that case that g of x is not below f of x for all values of x. So that can't be the answer either. The next possibility. A is any real number and B is negative. Well, that would only be true if A were less than, as in B, if A were less than or equal to 3 and B were negative. So if A was a number, A can't be any real number. If A is greater than 3, then eventually it would intersect. Even though B is negative and it's below the x-axis, but A would be, if A were larger than 3, at some point it would intersect with the graph of 3x squared. So that can't be the answer either. So once again, A has to be less than or equal to 3, which means it's going to open wider than 3x squared. And B is negative, which means that it is below the vertex is below the x-axis. And in this case, the values of g of x will always be below the values of f of x for all x. And so that's our answer.